Yep, that's me. Right, let me start again. Michael Benson from Interbrand. Good morning. Thank you very much for having me here. Some of you have probably heard of Interbrand. We are the first and leading global branding consultancy. We're over 30 years old. And in that time, we've had the opportunity to work with some of the world's best global brands. It's been a real privilege to help develop the strategies, to help develop their experiences. And also, we've had the opportunity to actually create some of the most famous brands in the world. Developing strategy, creating brands is part of what we do, but another important part of what we do is measuring brand value. Interbrand pioneered the brand valuation process and methodology. The Interbrand methodology is the most preferred methodology in the world today. We were instrumental in helping shaping the global standards, and we were the first ISO certified business for brand valuation. And Best Global Brands, some of you may have heard of, is our annual publication of the world's top 100 most valuable brands. And I was very fortunate to be here in Istanbul, only in October, to launch Best Global Brands 2012 to the Turkish marketing public. And what does this tell us? It gives us real insight into many different businesses, in many different categories, as to how they create value. But what do we mean by brand value? Brand value is the brand's contribution to the business results. That's a fantastic thing to be able to measure and to be able to manage, because it connects the conversations between the CEO in terms of creating shareholder value to you as marketers in a way that has never been done before. And we can measure this because there's three parts. First is the financial analysis that begins to understand the profits that the business is going to develop. Second is role of brand, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. How important is the brand in your purchasing decision? And lastly, not leastly, it's the strength of your brand to ensure your future profits. And the brand value, or the value of a brand, is the net present value of all future earnings. So let's think about that just for a second. As marketers, everything we do is about creating demand for tomorrow. Today's already happened. We're constantly strategizing, being creative, pulling together the cleverest minds to create demand for tomorrow. And so when we look at value, we're looking at the returns that the brand will create in the future. Because what it's worth to you now, or any item is worth to you now, is what returns you think it will give you in the future. And the strength of the brand is critically important because that is a key determinant in ensuring that your future forecasts will actually be met. So I'll talk a little bit more about each of these 3 points. But give you a little bit of an insight into what happened in the top 100 this year. So here are the top 10. Number 1, unsurprisingly, is Coca-Cola. Over 125 years of authenticity, a brand that's been able to refresh itself and to always mix in a wonderful hint of nostalgia in everything that they do. Number 2 is Apple. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but there's no surprises there. IBM, still one of the most innovative, profitable and sustainable technology companies in the world, and a powerhouse in the IT sector. Google has leapt ahead of Microsoft. Google, still the dominant force in online advertising, now branching out into so many different areas. Of course, mobile sector being a key driver. And Microsoft has slipped a little less relevant than it used to be before, especially when we start thinking about the competition in terms of Apple and the other top 5. But the biggest climbers, mainly technology, very interestingly. Apple, of course. Apple has done a tremendous job of really reaching out and touching the hearts and minds of millions of people who never thought they'd be into technology. The huge success of the iPhone, the iPad, and of course we keep forgetting that they still do PCs and desktops because of the dominance of their mobile technology. Amazon has done an incredible job of being able to evolve itself extremely quickly and play a dominant role in the online space, as well as, of course, being a huge retailer. Samsung, now the world's largest smartphone manufacturer, has really strengthened its brand through its hero strategy by focusing on its mobile phones, its TVs, and it's owned the space in terms of innovation amongst the TV brands. Nissan has recovered in the face of adversity in Japan, but has been incredibly innovative in what they've been doing recently, and their designs have really helped boost the brand perception in the minds of consumers. And of course, Oracle, still a powerhouse in IT. At the bottom end, or actually not really the bottom end, but in terms of the biggest decliners, BlackBerry. BlackBerry's lost its way. We all used to have a BlackBerry, not so much anymore. Hope's now pinned on BlackBerry 10. Goldman Sachs, while the whole financial services sector has suffered tremendously thanks to the downturn, but Goldman Sachs particularly due to its actions during this time. Nokia is a brand that once was the dominant player in the mobile phone industry, as we all know, and they are the case study of someone who took their eye off the ball. Their hopes now are pinned to Windows 8 and what that can do for them. Mayo Chandon, unfortunately not many people had much to celebrate in the last few years, and so their financial results have declined. And Yahoo has lost relevance in the face of growing competition. Portals generally aren't as popular as they used to be or as relevant as they used to be. But thinking about the top 100, thinking about the top 10, how have they created brand value? Well, you saw the equation earlier, your financials, the role of brand, and of course the strength of your brand. It's amazing. I have worked both, well, half my career has been client side, half my career has been agency side. And some of the fundamentals in top businesses aren't always observed. But this is what these brands do well. Firstly, they recognize the importance of their brand. Secondly, the brand is their guiding principle to so much of what they do and everything that they do. And lastly, not leastly, they really manage their brand to build brand strength. So, recognize the importance of your brand. I'm sure many of you have sat in business meetings where it's been a struggle to get the rest of the business to understand or appreciate what the brand can do for you. But for many businesses, your brand is the most important asset that you have. And it's a living business asset that has to be managed across all touch points, very carefully, year after year, to build identification, to make sure that you stand out and you are different, and to deliver value for that business. So, I think the Leica example was tremendous. It was a really, really good one. And Nike, exactly the same example. It's about the brand. Every decision that people make, brand has a role to play. And there is a constant argument, particularly with some of the salespeople in an organization. Yes, it is about price. Yes, it might be about features. There are many tangible aspects that are present in your choice criteria. But brand plays a key role. And in many businesses, it's a very important role. But it's an important role in all businesses. Even in financial services, nearly 20% of your choice criteria, and these are averages across industries, are down to the brand. When we get up to luxury and fashion, for some brands, it's over 80%. Brand plays a critically important role across every industry. So whether you're B2B or B2C, everybody needs to be paying attention. Because we know that brand drives choice and therefore generates your revenue. We know that brands can command a premium, as we've seen with the Leica example, and we are all happy to pay for that. But it secures loyalty, so that means you will retain the customers that you've had and grow market share. And a few other areas that some people overlook is that it actually has some huge indirect benefits. It's cheaper to recruit because people want to work for you. Cost of capital is lower because people are happier to lend to you, for example. The brand needs to be your guiding principle is number 2. So in many businesses, it's often an afterthought. In many businesses, it's often seen as the logo that goes on the bottom of your ad. It's only been part or lives in marketing. But in leading businesses, the brand is the manifestation of your business strategy. It is there to deliver the business strategy and informs all parts of the business. It informs what you invest in, who you recruit, how you sell, what innovation you want to be investing in, the channels that you want to be distributed through, your manufacturing operations and key trade-offs in terms of quality, for example. And of course, it's got something to do with marketing. Once you've defined what your brand stands for, then you need to make sure that it's managed across everything that you do. It's not just about communications. It's about how the brand behaves through its people and how they behave and interact, through the products and services that are on brand and continue to reinforce what your brand stands for. It's about the environments and channels, the way you sell and how you sell, both online and offline. And of course, it's got something to do with communications. But all sectors are incredibly important. So, a little while ago, when Interbrand reinvented the mini brand to position this new, urban, edgy brand, the proposition Downtown at Night was brought to life across all its sectors through the way that you interacted with the people within the showrooms, through the accessories and items that were sold around the car, through the environments that they were sold in terms of the car showrooms that brought to life that nighttime feel, and of course, how it then impacted the communications that then followed. Or for Intercontinental, revitalizing an incredibly established and respected brand, targeting a new target audience that was experienced traveler, and creating a proposition that was not about ensuring they had a great stay in the hotel, but appreciated or improve that stay by communicating their understanding of what goes on around the hotel and ensuring we're delivering the products in each of those areas. Lastly, managing to build brand strength. We know from our research there are 10 factors that brand managers need to keep on top of when managing their brands. There are internal factors and external factors. Starting with the internal factors, these are the things that your business has to have in place to ensure that your brand is managed effectively going into the future. First, you need to be really clear what your brand stands for. From the CEO down to the salesperson at the front desk, are you saying the same thing about your brand? Audi is Vorsprung durch Technik, advancement through technology, driving the brand forward in terms of performance, in terms of luxury, and also in terms of sustainability. Is everyone clear in your business what your brand stands for? And how committed is your business to the brand? When they make decisions, is the brand being considered? When you're looking to reduce costs, when you're making decisions on packaging, for example, is it the most easy to produce? Google, a long time ago, took the decision to allow its employees to invest 20% of their time on innovation, on anything that they felt like. Over half of the products that we see today are down to the innovations created in that time. Protection. Well, we've heard a lot about that recently. Apple and Samsung fighting it out in the courts at the moment. Porsche has over 9,000 patents. There's nearly 10,000 patents to protect the technology that makes Porsche Porsche. But protection is not just about legal. It could be about your people through the fantastic service that the Four Seasons has, for example. Is your brand ensuring those things that make you special and different is protected now and into the future? And how responsive are you? Amazon have been incredibly responsive. So they saw a threat from software sales by apps. They've jumped onto that bandwagon with the App Store. They saw threats in terms of this reduction of box video sales. So now they have instant video. Of course, they're moving into hardware because they understand the ecosystems that allows them to develop. And now they have Cloud Drive and Cloud Player because they were once big music retailers and have moved with the times and the new technology to be able to live that. How responsive is your business and your management to seeing those threats and moving with them. And then, only then, we start getting onto the external factors. And this is the bit that most people focus on, and perhaps only in a few different areas. A lot of people just talk about awareness and perception, but when you break it down, there's more areas than that we need to start considering. First is authenticity. Can your brand credibly live up to the claims that it makes? And Nike here is a fantastic example. That no matter how many fashion shoes it sells, in our hearts and minds, because they're doing the right thing, they are an extremely authentic sports brand because of their involvement in serious sports at all levels. And that allows them to create and interact with communities that no other brands can. So for example, the We Run 2012, 34 races across 34 different countries. A fantastic initiative that has bound the running community, got them excited, and allows them to reinforce that credibility. So is what your brands, or the activities your brand's involved in, are they underpinning and reinforcing the credibility and the authenticity of your brand? And authenticity doesn't have to mean old, was another point I wanted to make. So how relevant are you? That's one of the things that crops up constantly, making sure that you fit with your consumers' needs and desires. McDonald's is a tremendous example of a brand that has solid values and a single brand that has been flexed effectively internationally. Those values have driven different types of retail environments and different menus, but a constant experience in terms of a takeout in every country that it operates in. So how clear are you about who you are targeting? Be very, very clear. And are you ensuring that you're addressing all the key needs in a way that your competitors aren't? Which brings us on to differentiation. You've got to be different. Otherwise, you will be substituted. And your customers have to perceive you are different. IKEA is the world's largest furniture retailer. They have a very powerful value set that drives their actions. They have a unique retail concept, and they have a fundamentally challenging, in my view, design concept in terms of making sure everything's got a funny name by the designers that they have. All these things add up to a unique experience that has lived now on for generations. The quality of their products really stand up. I used to have IKEA as a kid. My kids have them now as well. What they've done really well, it's not just one thing, it's a few things that come together to create a differentiated experience. So you've got to make sure that you're focusing not just on one thing, but the sum of all the parts. How consistent is your brand being in terms of what it delivers? Apple has given us a masterclass in terms of ensuring that human touch, that simplicity of design is reflected from everything across their interfaces, the physical product design, and also the retail environments. Make sure you are present in the world and the lives of your customers. The Disney Corporation is a tremendous example of how they wrap themselves in all parts of the world of children's and families. It's interactive videos, it's the TV, it's the gaming, it's the holidays, it's retail, it's the consumer products that you can buy everywhere, and it's in publishing. Their presence is second to none in this category. And understanding. Do customers really know what your brand is about and what they will get every single time they come to visit you? Starbucks felt that their customers, or customers around the world, really understand them, so much so that they took off the word coffee from their logo. They understand that it's the same processes and the same coffee that deliver the same experience in all of their outlets around the world, no matter where you go to. So, my time's nearly up. 3 things, please remember, and not all businesses do. Make sure that the importance of your brand is recognized. Make sure it's at the heart of everything that you're doing and that it is driving the decisions that are being made. And most importantly, every day in everything that you do, manage to build the strength of your brand to to ensure that it will deliver returns today and, most importantly, in the future. Thank you.